welcome back to Devils United. I'll be back with an England preview, and I've got Dan with me today. Dan, how are you?
I'm good. After watching Qatar, Ecuador, it can only get better.
That's very true, and it's been a while since we've done a show together as well.
It is. I think you mentioned it with Doug's channel, I think, that we're on. So, yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it. Talking football, whether I talk sense or not's a different question, but talking football is something I'm good at.
Well, you definitely do talk sense and you speak your mind. That's one of the many things I do like about having you on. So before we get on with the preview, we'll say hello to people who's in the chat as well.
Yeah.
Good evening, Reese. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Good evening there to Ravi. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Good evening, Niall. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Good evening to Luca. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. Luca's also on the channel at 10 o'clock this evening. We'll be doing our Group H prediction. Group G predictions. Sorry, I literally had the wrong one up. I don't know if you've seen, Dan, but one of my groups, I completely messed it up, and I've done the following groups rather than the group I'm supposed to be doing. I think it's all right.
I went on somebody's podcast the other day. I think it was a Sunderland fan, and I actually said to him, "Oh, he was a decent keeper when he played for you, weren't it?" And they actually went, "Yeah, I think I saw him once against Hull." It was only about 10 minutes later we realised he'd never even played for their club. So that was fun.
Yeah. Hey there, Matthew. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. England, please, not 12 at the back. Must be Gareth must be playing that as well. If it's 12 at the back. As long as he doesn't take penalties, I'm not concerned. Just as Reese said, smash the subscribe button. Also to Dan's, I have put your link in the description below as well, Dan. Hey there, just me. Oh, it's okay. Hey there, just me. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Reese said, Dan talking sense. So that is why Burnley are top of the championship.
Need I say more?
And good evening, Liam. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. This Irishman is watching the Ireland friendly after the first match. Lovely. I'd be happy if Ireland was in the World Cup as well, but it's a bit of a shame they're not. So what we'll do first, we'll go through the squad that Gareth has called up. Some names, both me and you will probably think, what's this person doing here? But there's somewhere I was very happy in them being called up as well. So here it is, the England squad. So goalkeepers, Pickford, Pope, Ramsdale, pretty straightforward. They're probably ones that was going to get called up, really, wasn't it, Dan?
Yeah, of course it were. I don't think. I mean, Dean Henderson, if he'd have probably carried on with the form that he had with, Sheffield United, going back to United, if he established himself as first team, maybe, but went to Forest, and obviously with them languishing, you knew he weren't going to make the cut for the three.
I think, I don't know about you, but looking at it from Dean Henderson come to Nottingham Forest, they probably looked at it from how a Sheffield United point of view of how he was when they first come up in the league, and the exact same was going to happen again, but it's not always going to necessarily be the case. And there's been a lot of times this season for me with Dean Henderson, he's been a bit iffy. So I think Pope and Ramsdale, both of them are a brilliant number two, because we know Jordan Pickford is always going to be number one in Southgate's eyes. If that's going to be, people may agree or disagree. For me, I'd say yes, keep him as number one, because as much as he's crap for Everton, he's brilliant as a number one for England. He's never had a bad performance as an England shirt, and for me, I don't see the need for him being out the squad. But what's your opinion? Who would you have as number one?
I think it's like you said. I think he's always going to be Southgate's favourite. He's always going to be that first name on the team sheet. It's his trusty goalkeeper. For me, though, you look at the emergence of Aaron Ramsdale, I'll say. A lot of people slandered him and slagged him and said, you know, he's been with Bournemouth, Sheffield United, he's been relegated after relegated after relegated. And sort of, how is he going to go with Arsenal? But he has found in that youthful Arsenal side a formula that works. The back four in front of him have been pretty strong. He's showing his capabilities. Nick Pope, even while at Burnley, we knew what he had. We knew what he had. But now that he's with Newcastle, everyone seems to be going, oh, it's the Nick Pope fest, and you're just getting it from all angles. And it's like, why? Why is everyone basically just going on about Nick Pope as though it's all of a sudden come on this season? He's been decent for God knows how many years now and so massively overlooked. Whether them two deserve to be starters, as I say, I think with Southgate's style of play, he wants somebody who can play with their feet. To be fair, Nick Pope and Ramsdale have been doing a lot of that with the clubs that they're at now. So based on form, you'd give either one of the two a chance. But you know full well what Southgate's going to do. He doesn't. A leopard never changes its spots, does it? So he's probably going to stick with Pickford.
Probably so. I agree, and it's good you mentioned about Nick Pope because I do definitely agree with you. He is a very underrated goalkeeper, and I agree. As when he was at Burnley, he probably was overlooked because there was Alisson, Alisson, Mender, Edison, De Gea when Nick Pope was there. De Gea was in great form, wasn't he, in the past couple of years? So a lot of players like that overlooked Nick Pope, and I think they'll probably not looked at Nick Pope because of you look at where Newcastle is at the moment. They're in third and wow, it's all because of Nick Pope. But because it was at Burnley and they were staying up, they didn't look at him at the same way as what they are now, if you agree.
Yeah, no, I do. I think if Nick Pope was still in that Burnley side now with the way it's playing, you'd see a little bit different of outlook. I think the style of play we played as well was quite defensive, you know, with the manager we had at the time. So I think that doesn't help, you know, because he was always pumping the ball long. He wasn't playing these short passes like now we're playing the ball out from the back. It's weird. So getting used to seeing that is strange. But yeah, Nick Pope, I think, deserves at least a chance. If anything, should have had his chance maybe at the Euros, but then obviously took an injury because Pickford were in shocking form for Everton. And it was Nick Pope's chance to cement his place. But obviously, I think he had some sort of hernia problem that he had to deal with. And obviously that took precedent over his chances with England.
Yeah, so the next three positions is where we're going to see controversy. Not so much controversy with the goalkeepers, but we'll go into defence now. John Stones, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Eric Dyer, Conor Cody, Ben White, Luke Shaw, Kyle Walker, Harry Maguire, Kieran Trippier. Do you want to take it away with that, Dan?
Right, let's start with the list I've got here. The first name that's showing me on my list here is Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, as a Liverpool fan, not me, but Liverpool fans that I know of are even saying, like, Trent has not been good enough. He doesn't deserve to even be in the Liverpool starting 11. This is Liverpool fans talking about one of their own. Why the heck is he even included? I'm saying heck instead of another stronger word. Because of he's just, well, let's just say, is he Scouse or is he English? Make your mind up.
Exactly, because it's Scouse when they want to be Scouse. Scouse not exactly. English, but they're happy to represent England.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like another Liverpool player in the midfield as well.
Yeah, totally agree with you there. Trent for me is not good enough to be called up. Conor Cody is another one I don't think was good enough. If you're going to call up any Everton defender, and I'm not saying this because he played for Burnley, so please don't quote me, but if you're going to take anyone, I'd have took Tarkowski over Conor Cody. Because I'm not being funny, but the opening few weeks of the season, Match of the Day were absolutely tugging themselves away at the fact that Tarkowski should be on the plane, he should be doing this when the World Cup comes about, and then it all died down a little bit. But all of a sudden, Conor Cody seems to be the one they've gone to. Eric Dyer's a strange one because Spurs recently have been out of quite a bit of form, but I think he's mostly in there for his versatility of he can come back as a centre-back, he can also fill in as a CDM, or as a main midfielder sort of thing. Harry Maguire, well, I mean, Southgate's pen pal.
Best centre back in England, apparently.
The thing is, it says something when you, as a Man United fan, think like, "Come on."
Yeah.
I mean, let's not get it wrong. I'm trying to base it on what's happened in the Nations League. We were shite. Calling it as it is, SHITE, shite. Yes, I spelt it correctly. Us Northerners do know how to spell. We just don't know how to count to 6 on one hand. But yeah, Harry Maguire. I think Luke Shaw definitely deserves to be in there. I think his performances have been merited. John Stones. I mean, even having a bad game at Manchester City, you're still going to get called up because everybody else around you is going to save your arse. Kieran Trippier, the way he's been playing at Newcastle, can't fault it. Kyle Walker,
he's injured though.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's a bit weird. He's injured, so why? Ben White deserves his chance. I think for me, for the way he's been at Arsenal, I just think that there's Fikayo Tomori. Why is he not been called up? This is what pees me off. Southgate's always flirting around at the Turf or at Old Trafford or at St James's Park, etc. He's flirting around all these clubs and trying to watch players. And for what? For what? Start sending people out to the foreign leagues to do stuff. You know, Tomori's been one of the most solid English centre-backs. And yes, he's playing in a foreign league, but that's not the point. He's been the most consistent, probably the best English centre-back in form at the moment. Why he's not there, I do not know. So that's a massive shock for me. I think we need to do something about that because do we need media hype? Do we need the media to be all like, oh, look at what Tomori's doing, look at this? Because we had that with Hudson-Odoi at Chelsea, didn't we? All of a sudden, it's like, oh, he had one good game at Chelsea. The next minute, you know, he's in the England squad, way ahead of his time probably, because he's done nothing to merit it. I'm sorry if he's ever watching or comes across it, but you haven't, so sorry. Not sorry. He's hacked up so much by the media, and if that's what it has to take to get your name on the England team sheet, I think that's a little bit poor.
Yeah, and people are completely agreeing with you regarding Tomori. I'm for one is agreeing about Tomori, and Reese has mentioned Crystal Palace defender Mark should be in there as well, and I agree. I think he should be 100% there over Harry Maguire. I do agree. I think Eric Dyer, I don't think he's been in poor form compared to other centre-backs that I've seen, so I'd say, yeah, bring him in. Like, I actually, there's something about Eric Dyer I don't mind. Like, I think the way Gareth Southgate sets up in the back three, he suits it. If he was plonked in the middle, and then he had like two quick centre backs on either side of him, like Ben White on the right hand side and John Stones on the other side, for instance, or Kyle Walker, whatever he wants to do. I think that would really work. But if he was to go with how he did in the Euros,
he could push forward, couldn't he? He could sort of, as the team goes forward, if he pushes in as some like an emergency CDM while the team's gone forward, and then as it comes back, you know, sort of transition back. But no, I do agree with that. Like I say, Eric Dyer probably not poor form, but in a poor Spurs side at the moment.
Exactly. You can't help being in. You can't help having crap around him. Let's just say.
You can't polish a turd, can you?
That's exactly what Spurs is. But yeah, I think for me, with Luke Shaw, he definitely deserves to be there. But looking at that, he's the only left back we've got now. So then it makes you wonder, could there a possibility at times Trippier could move to the left-hand side?
Yeah, I think that's what it will be. I think Trippier will play on the left, potentially. That's another thing about Trippier. He's got that versatility of playing right wing, right back, left back. I've always seen him as a sort of like a right wing back player more than anything. But he has got that versatility to play on the left. Like I say, yeah, it's the Kyle Walker for me. Why have we done it? We've done it in the past by taking in an injured player to tournaments. And it's
Wasn't
like,
that Jordan Henderson last time? in the Euros. Wasn't he injured for a bit?
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's another reason why he's in there as well, just a voice in the dressing room. But I'm sure we'll speak midfielders in a sec. But
Yeah.
Kyle Walker, I mean, do we know how long he's going to be out? Is he going to be out for the group stages, and then all of a sudden somebody in
He's supposed to
form?
be out for the first game or two.
Ah, right. Well, that's what I mean. What if Trippier and say whoever's playing on the right, Trent as it stands maybe, or it could be Trippier to start on the right and Luke Shaw on the left, while instead of Trent, but. Are you going to start taking players out if they're in form just to bring somebody in because he plays for Manchester City? Kyle, this for me is one of Kyle Walker's probably last tournaments. He's in his 30s now. By the time 2028 comes around, you never know. He might have just said goodbye to England. So let's not have people in there just because, they've been around a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree with that. And yeah, you've already mentioned about midfield. So we'll go on to that next. Calvin Phillips, Declan Rice, Conor Gallagher, Jude Bellingham, Jordan Henderson, Mason Mount. Everyone knows, right? I've got some mad love for Calvin Phillips. Everyone knows I like the guy, and I was devastated when he got to Manchester City, but he doesn't deserve to be in that squad. He's literally just come back from being fully fit. He's literally been like the Manchester City version of Donny van de Beek. He's not played any bloody minutes whatsoever. If he went to another Premier League side, right, who wasn't Man City, he would be starting every game. He would get in there full 90 every single game if he went to any other Premier League club. It's because he went to Man City. Is that because of the greed? Is that because he wants to win trophies? I don't know which one it is. It's up to. He said it was because he wanted to play with Pep, but you want to increase your career, and maybe one day you might get that if Rodri ever picked up an injury, but he's not ever going to be a starting 11 player at Manchester City. It's just as simple as that. Declan Rice, I'd say, for me, West Ham hasn't been in good form, but as we've already mentioned, he's been about other teams such as Spurs. He's been literally the best out of a pile of crap around him. And one good thing about Declan Rice, he's so young, but he's got that leadership in him. And that's something if you're looking at the other in the midfield, minus Jordan Henderson, none of the other players have. No. He has that leadership trait. I think for me with Declan Rice, what I only worry about is that I haven't seen him play as a lone defensive midfielder. So I worry is if we was to play a 4-3-3, that's never going to happen. But if we was to decide we wanted to play that, could he play as that lone defensive midfielder and not get exposed? Would we always have to play in a pivot? Or would we always have to play with, for instance, a 3-4-3 for someone next to him to get the best out of him? But one good thing as well about Declan Rice is that he's played as a centre-back before as well, which is great. So I know we'll probably never get all these injuries with an injury crisis with centre-backs at this rate, but is there for that little bit of comfort, that's for sure. And Conor Gallagher, he was good last season for Crystal Palace. I don't think he deserves to get in this season. He hasn't been nowhere near good enough. He really hasn't.
I agree. Last season, fantastic at Palace. This season at Chelsea, he's sort of come in. I mean, it sounds silly, but you've had your manager sacked because you've not done great. Potter's come in, had 2 decent results and now it's all starting to falter again. So, is that because of the inexperience? Does he need another loan move for a bit more about him? I don't know. But we saw in the Euros, I'll go back to Calvin Phillips and Declan Rice. When them two were together at CDM, they were like rocking or shit. Nothing were getting through them.
I love them both.
Nothing at all. Yeah, they were absolutely superb. And again, like you said with Declan Rice, his passion when he came off against, for West Ham in the Europa, and he's like, oh, you know what, are you refs being bribed and stuff like that? He's not scared to speak his mind. He will literally die for the cause because he loves doing what he does and stuff like that. So he has got that, like you said, leadership qualities. For me, Jordan Henderson's only in there as a voice in the dressing room. I don't think we'll see much of him. 10 minutes to see a game out if we're only winning 1-0, maybe. But yeah, there's a few in there that surprised me. As I say, Calvin Phillips, I just hasn't had the game time. So where's his match sharpness going to come from? That's another question. And I don't get this. Like, we're having some, Maddison and Foden down as a forward. The midfielders, whether they're cams or whether they what.
Because Mason Mount, if say, for example, Chelsea decide not to be back five merchants and decide to play as a 4-2-3-1, Mason Mount would either be playing as a right-winged player or as an attacking midfielder.
Yeah. So that's why I don't understand how we've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 forwards, but only like six midfielders. It's just a bit weird. I do think though that's where we'll get overrun in our midfield. I think we will get overrun in midfield during this tournament because our midfield choices are quite weak.
I must be honest though, like, say for example, like Calvin Phillips did play all the time in the world. I don't know how you feel, but in terms of an England fan point of view, no one carries the ball in that midfield as well as him, out of who's been called up.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And if someone was to say, right, okay, so who do you put in over him? James Ward-Prowse will say, nah, keep hold of Phillips. For me, I would. I mean, I don't want somebody who's just going to be, oh yeah, we'll bring him on because he can hit a free kick. So can Trippier. So can, well, I was going to say, yeah, Luke Shaw. So can Maddison.
Rashford can.
Rashford. It's just, yeah, we don't need one person who's got that one little thing to their game. So yeah, Calvin Phillips, if I had to choose over the two, would still be in. I suppose that's an argument for another day, though. I'm sure that I don't understand why people would even want Ward-Prowse in this team with the way Southampton have been playing either.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And Mason Mount, because that raised a lot of controversy as well. A lot of people think Mason Mount didn't deserve to be there. Personally, for me, I like Mason Mount as well, but I agree. I don't think he also deserved to be in the England squad. But I think he's one of Gareth's favourites. We already know that, but he brings versatility as well in the squad.
Yeah, he does. He does. It's one of those things with Gareth where they might be doing absolutely dogger at club level, but when it comes to playing internationally, I mean, look at the Euros. Right? We weren't scoring for love nor money. Raheem Sterling was having the, most torrid of time at Manchester City, where he was he was out of form. His head had gone. He turns up for England and gets us through the groups alone with some of his goals. So, I suppose you've got to take it. It's almost like a risk over reward situation, and hopefully you get a reward at the end of it for taking that risk. But like I say, I think our midfield as a whole is too young, maybe in terms with Gallagher and Bellingham and stuff. I think we needed a bit more experience, and we could easily be overrunning that in that section.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, to be honest. Bellingham, he's a fantastic player, but the thing is, even when it was Rice and Bellingham in the Nations League, as much as I loved Jude Bellingham, it just felt like, should he be really starting at the moment? Like, I was a bit kind of like that. Do you get what I mean?
That's what I hate, though. Like, how many young players, all of a sudden, this is what I mean. The media jumps on him. Jude Bellingham, the next big English talent coming through. Conor Gallagher's played wonderfully at Crystal Palace. Is he going to be on the cusp of the England squad? And then all of a sudden, because it's all brought up through the media, it's all like, oh yeah, let's not forget him. Let's include him because he's been media. Yes, okay. Bellingham's talked the talk as well as walked it at Dortmund. He's gone there. He's made a name for himself. He's still even making a name for himself without Erling Haaland up top to, score the goal. So he must be doing something right. But we have a habit of fast tracking English talent into the England team too fast. And I don't understand, as Gareth Southgate, as a former under-21s manager, why he is not looking to them. Why he's sort of just waiting for the media to go, oh, he's doing all right. You know, Hudson, I'm not even going to go there with Hudson-Odoi, wasting my breath. The guy's a waste of talent.
He is a waste of air, I must be honest, Dan. But we'll go into the forwards.
The forwards.
The forwards. Harry Kane, Marcus Rashford, Callum Wilson, Phil Foden, Jack Grealish, Bukayo Saka, James Maddison, Raheem Sterling. Another couple of more controversial ones, but not as bad as the defenders and midfield, I wouldn't say, Dan.
Yeah, I can understand Foden's admission due to, you know, his
great form,
City. Yeah, he's in form. Grealish, I mean, he's getting the odd 10 minutes at the end of a game if he's lucky, and that's if City are, you know, dominating teams. The thing is with Grealish, he's that nippy person that, you know, a bit of an impact sub. You bring him on when half of the squad is, half of the opposition is knackered, and he's going to win those cheap, easy fouls. So I can understand why he's in there for that alone. Harry Kane, he's always going to be there. Whether he's in form, out of form, you know, made of form, no matter what, he's going to be on. He's going to be there. Maddison, I'm glad to see in there. I am glad to see in there. This is how many times we've been saying, I can't believe Maddison's missed out. I'd have even added Harvey Barnes potentially to it.
Isn't James Maddison injured at the moment as well?
He's took a knock, but he might be out of the first game only and should be back for the second one, but not entirely sure. I know the cut-off point is today, actually, isn't it, for players to send back and call up replacements. So nothing's been said or done. But then, yet again, this is England. It might be hush and come out tomorrow. But I'm glad that he was initially called up if that is to happen. Rashford deserves to be back in the England setup for me. He's worked wonders on himself as a person, as a footballer. He's got his head down. With Ten Hag's sort of management now, he's sort of, you know, entrusted in that, believing in it, and it's got him playing, you know, good football again. Saka, again, another player who's come on leaps and bounds. Saka, for me, has got to be, I mean, such a strong-minded player. After all the shit he went through with the Euros, the penalty miss, being so young and having that on his shoulders, everything that came out, the racial abuse and stuff, to grow back and say, you know what, sod the lot here, I'm me, this is who I am. And he's been one of the most standout players for Arsenal, took them to where they are with some of his goals alone. And just, 100% deserving of his position in this team. Sterling goes back a little bit to what I was saying earlier. Out of form, but when it comes to England, could potentially turn on the charm a little bit. And Callum Wilson, it was that question, wasn't it? Ivan Toney or Callum Wilson, who goes? I think the only reason Toney hasn't gone is because of the FA stuff with the betting. But then I reckon if he had gone and been called up, the FA wouldn't have dealt with it until the tournament were over anyway. But yeah, Wilson, I can understand why he's in there. I would have even I'd have took Ivan Toney as well myself. Over if I had to remove somebody from that forwards line to take Ivan Toney, I would probably have removed Grealish.
I agree. That would have been the one I would have took out, Grealish, out of everyone as well, to be honest. Because as you've mentioned, I think Harry Kane, though, this season, I think he's actually been quite overlooked. Do you know, because of how Erling Haaland has played in the league?
Yeah.
I think Harry Kane's averaging out near enough a goal a game, but he's not been seen as that right now. So I think he's deserving of being there. Rashford, you've already had the nail on the head, 100% deserves to be there. Callum Wilson, I was actually surprised he got in, but some people said there was mentions in the chat about Tammy Abraham should have been called up. Jose Mourinho is not a happy man about it. Another one who I rate massively is Marcus Edwards. I'm not too sure how much you have watched of Sporting and how much you've watched of Marcus Edwards.
Is that the former Tottenham youth player?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it is.
decent player is Marcus Edwards.
I like him, and I think for me, he's been in better form than Jack Grealish and Raheem Sterling. I don't even know if he's even in the youth. So it's crazy that he's been quite overlooked. But it comes back to what you said about the Tamari thing. The Tamari situation is that when players are being played in a completely different league to the Premier League or the Championship, they're not getting looked at all.
Yeah, I mean, because we could be sat here talking about Tammy Abraham at Roma. Yes, okay. You know, we're not getting enough scouts out to these foreign divisions. You know, and we should have scouts in abundance when it comes to a national side. So why we haven't been out there, and I do sort of understand what Mourinho's come out with. I think there is some element of that maybe. I won't go into it because obviously it gets a little bit political with it all, but you know that maybe there is a case of that. I don't know. It's a strange one. Why is none of the players that have gone abroad, apart from Jude Bellingham, because he's always in the media, why is that? Why are they overshadowed by the one player that's hyped up?
Exactly. Because don't forget, Tammy Abraham, he was actually in the Nations League squad. So what has changed from the Nations League to now?
Exactly. It's almost like he's weeded out the players and gone, right, well, you were at fault. No, I'll tell you were at fault. The last game we played against when Harry Maguire made 3 mistakes, gave away a penalty and all that crap. You know, but, you know, he'll be like first name on the team sheet. Like Harry Kane. Oh, there's another Harry I'm taking as well. It's just, you know what? We can all sit here and we can say he shouldn't be there or he should be there. But nobody's going to be 100% happy with an England squad, no matter who's called up. There's always going to be that one person you wish would have been in there. We've just got to take it at face value and hope that, you know, we're going into this as underdogs in a way because we were shat, weren't we, in the Nations League? We literally just didn't do anything. Got the relegation. Maybe it's the wake-up call that we needed. So we're going into this a little bit blind, maybe as an underdog status. We're probably the best of a good bunch, of a bad bunch, really, in the 4 teams in our group. You'd like to think that we'll get out of it, but we are up against some tough competition.
Mm-hmm. Like Gareth did say, he sometimes has to pick players who are not in form, and I don't know how much you agree, but in a kind of way I do agree with, because when you were going into a tournament like the World Cup and the Euros, you couldn't exactly bring in a player who's never played a cap for England, even though he's in such great form, just because you think, right, he's in good form, he's going to win us this. But you need tournament experience, you need to have them leaders, and I don't, like, Harry Maguire, they say it's because he's got that experience, and that's the same with Harry Kane and a few other players, Pickford, for instance. And I do, in that kind of way, I do see where he's coming from, but under the same breath, I do want him to try and look at some other players as well. It's a bit of a strange one.
Yeah, it is. I can understand his thought process. I can understand why he does it. But, you know, this is a bloke who came in, took the job and said, I'm not going to be this manager that you're all expecting me to put the same names out every time it comes to an international game week. Players will be picked on form. Players will be picked on merit.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't like the fact of managers saying that, getting the fans on side and then going against the word. Christ, if you wanted to do that, get yourself in the House of Commons, mate. So, you know, I don't know. It's strange. I do agree with it. Like I said, Raheem Sterling, bang out of form, got us through the group stages in the Euros with his goals. So it does work in your favour sometimes. And I think it may be about the calibre of player as well, because they know what they've got, they know the talent they've got, and it's whether or not they're strong-minded as well. All this sports science, personality, and things like that really do play into it as well. So maybe that's why some of them are in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I completely agree. We'll go through a couple of the comments as well before we do move on. Ravi has asked on where Sterling's best position is, and for me, it'd probably have to be left wing because he's a left wing, a left-footed winger for me. So that and he's able to cut into there. I don't see that he has his true potential on the right-hand side, and I haven't been a fan of him when Tuchel and Graham Potter's used him up front. If you agree, Dan.
No, yeah, spot on, spot on. I'd say on the left-hand side as well. That's where he's mostly stronger. And as you said, cutting in it just suits his game perfectly.
And another question from Rabbit: who in the England midfield would link up best with the strikers? As much as people probably say he's out of form, probably Calvin Phillips again, because he was great linking up in the Euros. And I think even though he wasn't in form and he was injured, I think sometimes he was missing in that Nations League. We don't have a apart from him, we don't really have a midfielder who plays like him.
No. The only problem I have with that is that obviously he's so morely focused on his defensive game where I'd sort of go look at it from an opposite angle. I'd probably go Bellingham. But if you're going to play Bellingham behind Harry Kane. Stop having Harry Kane drop deep. Because how many times we've seen Harry Kane? Yeah, and that's the thing that pisses us off, though. How many times does Harry Kane come back and then he's like having to drag his arse? It's like a snail pace trying to get forward. You know, when they tried to do it before, it was Kane comes back. It opens up a little bit of a little bit of space on the wings for the wingers to get in. But yet the wingers are in, and then they stood there wondering, right, well, I'm going to have to pass it back because our striker's not there to deal with the end ball. So keep Harry Kane up there. If needs be, stick somebody like Mason Mount up front, stick Foden up top, and play Harry Kane just behind.
Because Foden can actually play up top. He's done that last season for Pep Guardiola, and I always say if Harry Kane had the legs, he could drop deep, but he doesn't have the legs anymore. And
Rooney had to come back and play midfield towards the latter stage of his career. Not saying that the goals dried up, but he had to come back and do a more, midfield job because he couldn't keep up with the going forward all the time and things like that. Eventually, he ended up playing, midfield in America instead of being a main striker. But yeah, why not?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you as well. Just me means a lot. And hey there, True Gouda. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. Maybe play Pope against the Welsh. That would be an interesting one. Hey there, Vincent. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. It's on the BBC, I believe, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so.
Hey there to Doug. I hope you're well. Thanks for coming in. This is a huge Bernardo skin for England for sure. Iran have the best manager in the group. I don't know much about the manager, to be honest, so I couldn't say I couldn't really praise him so much because I'm not too aware of him.
Carlos Queiroz was Fergie's number 2 for quite a while.
Yeah, I don't know what he's like as a manager. That's the thing.
He's been around a few national teams. I think he managed Portugal, if I'm not mistaken. I think he's managed Egypt as well. Told to Egypt, he's managed them. So, yeah, whether he can get a tune out of Iran, I think Iran have sort of the underdogs in our group.
Yeah, a lot of people have said about Iran, but I'm not too sure. I'm not overly convinced, but I always think I can't discredit someone who I've not seen either. Because
wait till they beat us 1-0 tomorrow, then.
Yeah, like with Carlos, I just haven't seen much of how he is as a manager, how he plays, how he sets up. So I think, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Risa said Bellingham and Jamal Musiala, best young centre midfielders at the tournament. Can't wait to see them both. Jamal Musiala actually ended up leaving England to come to Germany, so he could have been a potential one we could have had in that squad.
Yeah, it's strange, and it's some of the players that we could have had that decided to change their nationality just to get in. It's madness.
I think he got in. Yeah, he is clear of I'd probably say out of all the central midfielders we've got, he's easily the best one. I actually think he's better than Bellingham.
Yeah, he's definitely got potential. God, I sound like Louis Walsh. But he has got the potential to go far. And Germany are a team in transition as well. The old guard at Germany is starting to filter out. Thomas Muller's sort of still there knocking about with his walking stick. But some of the young German players are starting to come through. So some of the old golden generation are filtering out, and we'll see what Germany are capable of.
Definitely. Hey there, I like coffee. Hope you're well. Thank you for coming into the chat.
Well,
and hello there, Rich. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. England will make hard work of it, but should get through okay. And Kate is also in the chat. Hey there, Kate. Esme says hi, Dada, and also says she likes the name Maisy. Thank you so much, Esme.
hi, Esme.
Everyone as well. Oh, we're good. Thank you. Thank you very much, Esme. So we'll go on to formations because everyone says, everyone will probably say it now. Gareth Southgate's a back five merchant. All he likes to play is a back five, and then we just play two defensively. Yes, we probably play a lot of defenders. So I've got the last England lineup in the World Cup. So we played as a 3-1-4-2. What an ugly formation that is, I will just say. And we played Pickford, Maguire, Stones, Walker, Jordan Henderson, Dele Alli, Lingard, Ashley Young, Kieran Trippier. So he's played quite high. Raheem Sterling and Harry Kane. So looking at that, there's not many changes really from that World Cup 2018 squad.
No, it just goes to show how many players have dropped off. The likes of Dele Alli, who could have been an ever-present in this England squad, but he just dropped off the face of the earth. Lingard sort of, I thought he was starting to sort of get his, mojo back a little bit, but I don't know. He's starting to find a little bit of form at Forest now. Whether it's going to be enough to warrant him a call-up, after the tournament, maybe potentially the next Euros, we shall see. But I think it might be too little too late, as Giorgio once sang.
Mm-hmm. And in the Euros, we played a 4-2-3-1 for the majority of it until we came to the final. So before the final, we had Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Shaw, Phillips, Rice, Saka, Mount, Sterling, Kane. So that's a 4-2-3-1. And then we ended up playing, I think it was a 3-4-3. And that was Pickford, Walker, Stones, Maguire, Trippier, Rice, Phillips, Shaw, Mount, Sterling, Kane. It's just shown a change of formation, really. It changed a lot in the game.
Yeah, it does. I understand you've got to adapt to your opponent. You've got to sort of, try and counteract what they're trying to achieve, but also balance it out. It's strange to say, but I thought tactically in the final he did sort of get it right in a way. We went 1-0 up. It was very late when we conceded. It was a bit of a sucker punch, but I don't know. I think as a manager, you probably ask yourself them questions. What if I just kept the mentality as it was, the same formation? We just carried on going the way we did. Would it have been different? Sometimes he may even hold his hand up and say it was my fault. Then yet again, I doubt it. He works for the FA, so he'll say whatever they ask him to say. It's a Winter World Cup. Sod it, go all out and play the Christmas tree formation. Might as well. It's a load of bollocks of a World Cup anyway, isn't it? That's another thing for me, this World Cup. Are you going to be, if England were to win it, are you going to be happy about it? Yes, I'm going to be happy in the moment, like we've won a World Cup. But it's almost going to be sort of going to have a few mental scars with everything. The fact that it's in Qatar. Oh yeah, we won it in Qatar. People will be like, well, that one don't count.
Yeah, because it's a World Cup and it was played in Qatar and it was corrupt. And...
Yeah. So I'd rather not win it this time round. I'd rather just go to the US, see Diana Ross miss another penalty, and we sort of win it there. But I'm not saying that I don't want us to win it. Of course, if we win it, we win it. But I just think that whoever wins it is going to be sort of tarnished with that brush of, yeah, well, you've won it in a tournament that people boycotted. So,
based off form, like the form we've had in the past, and based off the players who have been brought through, what would you say is the best formation to use? Because I really loved that 4-2-3-1 in the Euros.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that. I was thinking that, but I think I wouldn't have Kane dropping as deep. I wouldn't have Kane dropping as deep. I'd sort of have that 4-2-3-1, but I'd have the three sort of, you've got the two and sort of one just more advanced, because you've got your two CDMs there anyway, which could technically, as the pressure comes, could drop into like a back, like a 4-4-2 sort of formation as you're coming back. So
couldn't we play like, how can I say, do like a 4-2, like do like a 4-2-3-1? Like, could you do like a 4-2-3-1, but like an attacking midfielder play more as a centre forward? Do you like how a Cam goes just behind the striker and then known as centre forwards rather than attacking midfielders? Couldn't that work? I think that could work.
Yeah, I dare say it, but the formation Burnley have been playing as well would sort of suit England. I think it's like a 4-2-2-2.
That formation gives me nightmares after Ralph Rangnick played it. I'm sorry.
I know, I can understand it, but I mean, at Burnley, obviously, it's working. I think Kane's now at that age where he does it. He's going to need that support. People are going to think that it's going to be the Harry Kane show. They're going to double up on him. That also gives another attacker a chance. Somebody like Rashford. And yeah, I'd like to see us have that attacking mentality. Sort of, I know it sounds silly to say on a Man United fans channel, but have that sort of City attacking sort of, style of play. I think that would be great to see from an England perspective, especially when we looked at as a, part of the bus side.
Yeah. Just me as asked, who do you think the weakest player is? And I must say, I think it's Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, I'd say Trent or Conor Cody, one of the two.
Mm-hmm. A lot of people will come out and say Maguire, but I always think there's always a midfielder in front of him, a defensive midfielder. Whereas with Trent, if say for example he had Saka playing on the right, and Saka went too far forward, Trent's exposed.
Oh yeah, big time.
So that's why I worry about him. I worry about him playing. And Reese said a 3-4-3 is perfect to Kane, but would have been perfect for Abraham as well, or Tony. I like a 3-4-3, don't get me wrong. I don't mind the formation. I don't like this 4-2-2 business, what Reese is talking about.
Yeah, that's what I was saying though. I
don't like this formation either. A 4-4-1-1 and a 3-4-3-2-1. Oh, I hate these formations. Reese knows I've got like a bit of a weird
formation phobia.
Yeah. Any formations what's got four bits in it, I don't like. It's just.
So you'd rather have 3 at the back or 5 at the back?
Yeah.
Anything that's not got a 4 at the back.
anything where it's not got 4 numbers in, like a 4-4-1-1. If it was a 3-4-3 or a 4-3-3, I don't mind it. But anything more than that, I just hate it. Like I see one with like 5.
You've got the remote or out like that, is it? Where you've got the remote, it's on RTV, but you can't change to channel 4 because the number 4 scares the shit out of you. So I have to press TV guide and go to channel 5 first before I start flicking.
No, it's not like that. No, I just think it should be just plain and simple, and anything more than just a 3-4-3 or 4-2-3-1, it can just get overcomplicated for me.
Yeah, it can, yeah.
Hey there, Miss Melina. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. And no, I don't have a formation agenda, but we'll quickly do a starting 11. What we think will be used against Iran. We've both agreed a 4-2-3-1 is the best one, so we'll stick with that. Hopefully, Gareth doesn't use his 10 at the back, but this will be based off who will start rather than who we want to start, basically. So we'll start first with goalkeepers. Who are you thinking will start, Dan? Because for me, I have a feeling this could be the game where he would change goalkeepers if he was going to change.
I don't know. You know what? It's sort of difficult to say because you sort of think, is he going to tweak it a little bit? Is he going to be one of those where he sort of just I forgot the word, but let's sort of just play around a little bit with positions. I don't think you can do that now in a tournament. I think sometimes you've got to sort of be a little bit more level-headed and think, no, not right now. So for me, I think he'll go with his ever-trusty Pickford.
I think he probably will, won't he, to be honest. I always thought if he's going to change goalkeepers, it'll probably be this game. But then I thought if he was going to change it, it'd be Pope. I don't think he'll put Ramsdale after that howler in the Nations League.
He's definitely not.
So yeah, that's well decided, Pickford. Right back, I think that's either going to be an easy one. I think it's going to be Kieran Trippier who'll be starting at right back, especially knowing that Kyle Walker's not going to be playing.
Yeah, I think you'd have to start Trips because Trent's dog shit.
Yeah, I think with Trent, the only way you could play him is if we played a 3 at the back and he was played as a wing back. Otherwise, I wouldn't even bother using him. I
wouldn't even play Trent if a League Two right back got injured.
That just says a lot.
Don't rate him at all.
No, I don't rate him either. No, he would have been there though if it weren't for Reece James being injured, and that's really.
That's another one though. That's another strange one. Obviously, I know he's injured, but he put a comment out, didn't he? It's like he had some sort of agenda against Southgate, and I'm thinking, interesting.
Yeah, I seen it as well. I can't remember whose post he wrote it on.
Were it on Ivan Toney's?
I think it might have been.
I think he put something about being called up, and then obviously he put some sort of like cryptic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he did. I remember it now. Next one, left back. Who are you going for? I think it's probably going to be one answer, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, Luke Shaw. Can't put anyone else there really.
No, exactly. I agree. Luke Shaw it is. He scores for England. He's a Sharper, Carlos Sen. Oh, I hate that nickname. You probably heard it a lot. Centre backs. I think that's even going to be an obvious one, to be honest.
Right, we'll just get Harry Maguire in there now because we know that's going to be first name on the team sheet for some strange reason.
Let's put him in there just for his happiness. As long as he's not captain, I'm happy. But I feel like other centre back will probably be John Stones.
See, against Iran, I'm not sure whether he'll play Stones or go for somebody like not Cody. Who's the other ones?
Ben White, Eric Dyer. I just couldn't play Dyer and Maguire together.
You know what? I'd saying that. I'm trying to think. What would Gareth Southgate do? God knows what Gareth Southgate would do. Something completely different. See, I'd be tempted to give Ben White a chance, but I don't know whether he will. He probably will, as you say, go for John Stones or Eric Dyer, but
I couldn't play Dyer and Maguire together. That would be just that just says a lot. If you heard me say Dyer and Maguire,
yeah,
it doesn't sound
nice. Does it? Heck? It's going to be between Stones or Ben White for me, but I'll let you make the call.
I was thinking Stones originally.
Yeah, go for it.
Mm-hmm. I just want to say as well, thank you so much, Luca, for the £2 super chat. It really means a lot, and I'll see you at 10. And thank you as well, Reese, for the £5 super chat. It really means a lot as well.
Good to see you too, Reese. Glad you're still alive.
I like Coffee said Ken Maguire plays a striker behind Harry Kane. Well, according to our last game, probably so. He played as a striker with Ronaldo. It wasn't very nice. Dyer is diabolical. Oh, you can say that again. CDMs, we might as well put Declan Rice already in there.
Yeah, I'd say Declan Rice is in. And who else gets in alongside him, though, in this game?
Baby. Rice, baby.
For a minute, I thought the bear from Muller Rice advert were in. And I realised it was. I don't know who you put at the side of him. I know Calvin Phillips obviously hasn't had the game time. Is this the sort of game that you give him to get a bit of match sharpness? Yeah, hope you are well, and your health is on the up, same as the Arsenal. Same as the Arsenal. Unfortunately, Maisy probably is not so much the latter. Who with Rice? This is interesting. First game, would you go Gallagher, or would you say Gallagher's more attacking?
I'd say he's more for number 10 for me, but I wouldn't play him.
Right, well, let's go Phillips then. Let's say for a bit of match sharpness against Iran, first game.
Yeah, I was gonna go Phillips or Bellingham anyway.
Yeah.
I wouldn't start Bellingham in the World Cup. He could be like Saka though, where he picks up. He was so great when he comes on, and then he'll start for the rest.
Yeah, could be, could well be.
Because I'm sure Saka was one of them where didn't he? He actually showed Southgate he should have been there, and he was starting 11 in the end.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree with you.
So we'll put my favourite Calvin Phillips in there. There you go, Calvin. Hey there, Charles. I hope you're well. Thank you for coming in. And hey there as well to Henry. Thank you for coming in. I hope you're well. Attacking midfielder now. This is an interesting one because for me, it's out of Mount and Phil Foden. If I was going to pick, I'd say Phil Foden.
Yeah, I would have. I'd have to agree with you.
Because I think with Phil Foden, if he was to play right behind Harry Kane, over right behind him, I think that would work.
Yeah, should do. It should do. Like I say, even if Kane does drop deep, you've got Foden who's got he's got a little bit of pace to get past Kane and sort of think, right, well, if you come drop back and hold the ball up, I can obviously get in behind the defence, but we shall see.
Next one, left wing. I know it says left midfield, so just ignore that. Left wing, that's an interesting one. I think based off how Gareth is, it'd probably be Sterling.
Yeah, I think I think with obviously Saka, I think it'd probably ease him in second half sub or 60-minute sub. So yeah, I'd agree with that. Raheem Sterling on the left.
Who are you thinking for the right?
I think he'd probably put Rashford out there. I don't
think he suits the right, Rashford. I think he's crap on the right.
I don't. But I just feel like as an attacking option to go forward and potentially cut in, if Foden's there, I don't know. We've seen Mason Mount play there before as well.
We have. I actually like Mason Mount as the right wing player. As you mentioned, Saka is another option that could play there as well.
Yeah.
I don't know though.
No, we all know it's going to be Harry Kane up top. That one's pretty much nailed on. That one's nailed on. I don't think there's anyone else who's going to not start. Even if Kane had no arms and no legs, he'd still be the first player on that team sheet for some strange reason. I just think he'll probably go for someone like Mount over Saka. It's the first game. He'll probably want to just give these players a run out, see how they are against them. And if it is too easy for them, then, he can lynch a few of them off and sort of change it up a bit. I'd say going to play Mount out wide.
let's put Mount in. It could easily change because, as I say, Saka's been mentioned. He could be there. Bellingham could be in there. So there's a couple of good options. But I'd say that's a strong lineup against Iran, really.
I'd say if we get beat by Iran with that lineup, then there's definitely some issues. And I won't say it, but we'll see. We'll see what it means for Southgate.
I don't know like how much you think it, but I actually think in terms of crosses, Mason Mount is the best for that for crosses in the box. Do you know when you run to cross in? I think he's one of the best for it with Trippier.
And see, that's another thing. Like this formation would work if, say, Mount goes sort of drifts inside a little. You've got Phillips sort of comes back slots into Trippier's position while Trippier bombs forward, so that Mount's another option in the box, while Trippier sort of has advanced and whipped an early one in maybe. But like I say, we're not Gareth. He'll stick 11 men on the line if he has to. He's that defensive.
That's very true, but I'd be happy with that lineup anyway. Yeah, I'd be happy enough. But we'll wrap it up here anyway. Thank you so much, Dan, for coming on. It's been a great show, and it's been great to have you for the first England preview.
No, I enjoyed it, so thank you for having me. And like I say, we won't leave it as long next time, and it's good to have a catch up.
It definitely is good to have a catch up. Would you like to shout out your socials as well as your score prediction?
Score prediction, that's going to be tough. I think off the back, like I say, we're going into it as underdogs. I'd say I would take 1-0 now. I would take 1-0 and run right now with the way we played recently. The heat, everything that goes into it, there's so many different factors. Let's see, but I will take a 1-0 straight off the bat. And yeah, if you want to follow the socials, Facebook, Twitter if it's not dead yet, Instagram, YouTube, and all the rest, just at Turf Morehouse or Turf Morehouse, whichever you want to search. But we are trying to get to 1K by the end of the season, so I'm hoping a couple of watch-alongs for the World Cup might help us get there at some point.
Yeah, everyone who hasn't already, go and subscribe to Dan. I'll put your link in the description below, and it'd be great to get you to that 1K very, very soon. You've worked very hard on the channel. Your graphics are insane, and you're an overall great person, so you deserve all the subs. On my prediction show, I went for 3-0 for England. I don't know why I was smoking at that time, but
you've gone big.
I did. I went 3-0.
Was that the first cocktail that you decided that?
Yeah, I must have decided it when I was half drunk. I like coffee, like your flag collection as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
And thank you as well, Reese. You know I love you loads too, so thank you very, very much. Yeah, thank you, Dan, so much for coming on. And I'll be live next at 10 o'clock with Luca to do our group predictions for Group G, so go and check that out. But until then, we'll see you in an hour's time. Take care. Bye-bye.